Good morning. Good morning. It's Freedom Friday. You know what time it is. Y'all, I am happy about today. Yeah, because yesterday I was on my back messed up from that COVID booster. God darn. Baby, I couldn't even get out of bed hardly. You understand? I was struggling yesterday. It was a tough day, but I'm back. Good morning, Dr. V. Y'all do me a solid and say good morning, say hello, say something in the chat so I know that you're here and I can say good morning to you. Hey, Tister, that's my Tister right there. So glad. There's my brother. Yes, it is our brother's birthday. My brother Reggie, it's the big day. Yeah, celebrating my brothers. Absolutely celebrating my sisters. I'm just loving the way God. Listen, y'all. Thank you, baby brother. That's my baby brother right there. Yeah, that's the one. Mad talented, mad brilliant, mad creative. In a way. Let's get into today, y'all. I have a couple things. Hey, Davita, I have a couple things that I want to talk to you about. And Dr. V, you already know this one. I shared this a few weeks ago, and I woke up this morning and thought, I'm just going to share it on Freedom Friday because y'all wasn't there. Okay. Yes, you are mad, crazy, creative, gifted, all of those things, baby brother. I'm not sleeping on it. I know. I've seen you do what you do. So let's get into today because I'm not going to be all day because although I am feeling much better, woo, I'm a little weak in my body, as they say in the church. I'm weak in my body. All right, y'all. Hey, Shane. Listen, we're going to talk about some things, and I want to start with things I hate. Now, that's not today's topic, but I need to go there so you know where I'm going after that. I'm going to give you 3 things I hate, and while I'm giving them to you, y'all can go ahead and tell me some things you hate. Now, listen, don't y'all get too crazy in the comments, okay? Because I don't want to know nothing personal. I don't want to listen, okay? All right. Hey, Karan, things I hate. Let me give you number 1, people touching my food. Please don't stick your fork in my plate. Listen, if that's what you wanted to eat, you should have ordered it. And if you didn't, then you should say to me, "Ooh, can I try that?" And then I got you. You know what I'm saying? But don't retch across. That right there, make your retch back short. Okay. Good morning, Sister Welch. How are you? So glad to see you. Thank the Lord, feeling better. Second thing, people touching my stuff. Please don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my stuff. If you want it, I'll give it to you. If you need it, you can ask me. But don't touch my stuff. Listen, Karan ate some popcorn and he almost got in trouble, y'all, because Karan was in the parking lot with a bag of popcorn that did not belong to him. And my boy wasn't just eating it, okay? He was dropping it in the corner of his mouth. I almost took him out because, bro, that's my popcorn. Okay, so anyway, hey, Jackie. Anyway, let's get hated when my food. Y'all, that's my baby brother. And if you know me, you already know I can't stand my food to touch. I'm not getting ready to eat that soggy bread. I'm not getting ready to put cold stuff with hot stuff. Ew, I'm not eating that. I need all my stuff separately. Okay. Yes, I understand it's all going down the same place. I got that, but it's going to go in the way I send it. Yeah. Okay. Serious OCD. I cannot stand it. I won't eat it. And I hate to be rude, but I'll throw that stuff in the trash in a heartbeat. Or I'll pick off the sides that got touched and eat out the middle. Baby, I put French fries on my plate to separate my food. Yeah. Hey, Rui. So listen, let me tell you, I'm going to give you my third one. I hate it when I get up in the morning and my scarf is sideways and I didn't even sleep that good. That always makes me a little upset. But I want you to know that there is one thing that most people have in common that they either do not, that nobody likes, or most people actually hate. And we're going to get into it. It does not matter your gender. It does not matter where you're from. It does not matter how much money you have in the bank or if you have no bank account at all. It does not matter whether you are Baptist, Baptist-costal, Pentecostal, Methodist, Lutheran, Catholic, Buddhist. It makes no difference. There is one thing that most people, hey, Trina Boo, there's one thing that most people do not like, and some of us just flat out hate. Y'all, let me get into it. I'm going to say 99.9% of the people. And yes, I made that number up. It's my show. I can make it up if I want to. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. The one thing that nobody likes and most folks actually hate is suffering. Say I'm wrong. Say I'm wrong. Say I'm wrong because I need to know your secret. If I'm wrong, help me out. Okay? I do not like to suffer. I hate it sometimes. Yeah. But listen, we were in the shut-in, and listen, we were in the shut-in, and in the shut-in, I was preparing because, hey, Lola, I saw your post today praying for you. Pastor was like, I want everybody to share. And I was saying to God at work that day, what am I going to share? Like, is there something I should be sharing? Or am I praying? What am I doing? And God gave me this. And I'm going to give it to y'all. Wait, before I do that, let me tell you, suffering, we're not talking about when you say, child, I'm going through, because, it's something that you would consider small, but you still say going through. Suffering is defined as the bearing or the taking on of ongoing pain, distress, or injury, or the like. Okay? I am not on here to drag you down. I am not on here to put your mind just on your suffering and to draw your attention, but I came to share a perspective that I believe may change your outlook. And if you change your outlook, it can change your outcome. So let's get into it. Today's topic is simply this. Your suffering has an assignment. Oh, I'm glad you're home, Lola. That's good. Your suffering has an assignment. I don't know if you generally think about, the suffering, but sometimes we say to God, why am I going through this? God, why did you allow this, that, and the other, this, that, and the third? But understand that your suffering has an assignment. Listen, if you start thinking about suffering differently, you suffer differently. Okay, let me, I got some scriptures, as we like to call them, to back it up. Hold on. I got my scriptures. Bam. Okay. Let me start with understanding that Jesus suffered. And we say that all the time. Jesus went to Calvary. Okay, we got it. We say that all the time, but there was a purpose in his suffering. Everything that he went through had purpose. The scripture says in Isaiah 53:3 says he is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. They beat him and did him so terrible that we didn't even want to look upon him because of the suffering that he went through. But here's what we understand. He was despised and rejected by man so we could be accepted by God. His suffering had an assignment. And he didn't suffer just to win the battle. We have our battles that we go through here and there, but he suffered to win the war. Let me give it to you in Hebrew 2:14 says, inasmuch then as the children have partaken of flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared in the same, that through death he might destroy him who had the power of death. That is, it says, the devil. Listen, he came to get the devil up off of us. His suffering had an assignment. The Bible lets us know, the Message Bible says that he went for the devil's jugular. Baby, listen, when the enemy is messing with you and fooling around, God will go for his jugular. I mean, take a joker straight out about fooling with you. Folks better be careful. They don't know who they messing with. But now that we've briefly landed on that spot, that He suffered, and his suffering had an assignment. It was to bring us back to God. Everything he went through, when they ridiculed him, when they talked about him, all of that was for our benefit. There was an assignment on the things that he went through. So now that we know that there was an assignment on his suffering, let's get to your suffering. I'm going to share 5 quick things. Five quick assignments, not quick assignments. That's not right. I'm going to quickly share, because suffering is rarely quick. 5 assignments of suffering. The first one, hold on, baby. Hebrews 5:8 says, though he were a son, and that son capitalized, we're talking about Jesus, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. That's Hebrews 5:8, which means that suffering teaches obedience. Jesus stayed in the will of God the entire time that he suffered. He stayed in the will. Yes, he said, could you pass the cup? I mean, could you get his? Have you ever had a pass the cup moment? You haven't had one where the cup was being passed, and when it got to you, you looked down in it and was like, no, that's you, player. That's all you. Listen, I went to a church, and I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to tell you what happened at the church. I went to the church, and they was taking communion, and they was taking it out the same cup, and I was like, I'm good. Pass the cup. Okay. Have you ever had a pass the cup moment where the thing that you were facing, you was just like, God, I don't want it? You can tell me in the comments if you want to. I know we don't like to say stuff like that because that makes us complainers and blah, blah, blah. But I have had my moments where I said, nah, this cup ain't good. This can't be my cup. Who switched my cup? Jesus. Somebody back here playing with the cups, because this can't be my cup. Jesus said to God, let this cup pass. And then he said, nevertheless. I'm good on the nevertheless. I'm just saying that I do have the cup pass moment. And maybe y'all never have the cup pass moment. But Jesus had it. But he understood that, yes, even though he wanted the cup to pass, Dr. V, even though he wanted the cup to pass, he knew that his suffering had an assignment. He knew, his words were, nevertheless, not my will. He knew that his suffering was in the will of God. What? So that tells me that if it's in the will of God, God has control over my suffering. So I'm really not out here just willy-nilly just going through. Okay. Yeah, understand that God is not a haphazard God. He don't get down like that. That's not what he does. Okay. That's not what he does. That's not who he is. Woo! Okay. So first thing, suffering can teach you obedience. When we suffer, we can learn what God wants from us. We can learn the will of God. We can learn what he wants from us, what he wants to give us. We can even learn more about who he is in our suffering. But we learn to follow. Hey, Jasmine, but we learn to follow. David said it like this in Psalm 119:71. David said, it is good for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your statutes. David said, yeah, this is awful. It's horrible. I hate this. But I understand that this brought that. This got me to learning. This got me to understanding your word better. Baby, it's nothing like suffering that'll shove you in a Bible. Start going through. You get to looking for healing scriptures you ain't never read before. You didn't even know they existed, but get to suffering, and it'll cause you to run to him. And he wants us to run to him. And there's nothing wrong with that. We get there. Back in my youth, I attended a Catholic. I passed the cup. I passed the cup. I couldn't do it. But listen, understand that when you start going through, suffering will bring about an obedience to God. Or it should, okay? That it should. All right, let me get to the second one. Hebrew 4:15, for we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let me tell you, pass the cup moment. Adapting. Yeah. Listen, we've got to adapt. There's a reason why God is allowing you, Quran, to be in the place that you're in. And here's the thing. It says that He understood our pain, acquainted with our grief, touched with our infirmities. What I got from that was it said, yet without sin. Suffering can teach you to be an example of sinless suffering. Jesus was an example of sinless suffering. What am I talking about? He didn't mistreat people because he was going through. He didn't come for their throat because they did whatever they did. Hey, Rachel, y'all, he didn't do that. He suffered sinlessly. Okay? He understood that what we were going through, our infirmities, he knows that listen, that I may know him. That's an assignment of the suffering, that you may know him. And that you can suffer with him. Listen, he didn't mistreat Judas. I can give y'all a minute on that one. Hold on. I can give myself a minute on that one. Let's not pretend like we don't have them days where we be like, I got you. I tell you what, you go first. You go first. And when you get done, I'm going to go second. Won't be no third. Okay? Jesus did not mistreat Judas. He did not mistreat Peter, who denied him. He didn't even mistreat those that crucified him, because he died for everybody. Understanding that suffering teaches us empathy and compassion, and suffering can also teach us restraint. I know we don't want it. Yeah, that was all one. Empathy, compassion, restraint. I got all three of those out of that scripture. An example of sinless in suffering. Woo! Yeah, that was good to me. Let me get to number 3. And I got this one from 1 Peter, because I need to give y'all some word, because I'm not making this stuff up like I made up that 99.9. Okay. Hold on. There it is. 1 Peter 1:7. And this is the English Standard Version, says, so that the tempted genuineness of your faith, find out if your faith is for real, is more precious than gold, says, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Listen, when you suffering, yes, ma'am, brings you into obedience. When you suffer, your suffering can elevate your praise, your worship, and your revelation. Baby, when you go through, it's something about suffering that will cause you to lift your hands differently than you did when everything was going well. Differently than you did when you had everything you wanted. It is something about suffering that can elevate, that can reach down in you and pull worship out. Your suffering has an assignment. I don't know if that's the assignment of your suffering. I'm just telling you what he told me. Let me get to number 4. Suffering can shift your natural focus to a heavenly focus. We can go from the woe is me to the counting it all joy. That's James 1:2-4. Count it all joy. Listen, we're going to go through some stuff. People are going to treat us some kind of way. We're going to deal with hell on earth. But when you suffer, count it all joy, because it has an assignment. I'm not excited about what I'm going through. I need people to chill with that. Okay? I'm not excited about it. I'm sorry if that makes you feel some kind of way, or if that offends your religious sensibilities, but I am not excited about having migraines consistently. Sorry. What I am excited about is what God can do with a migraine. That's what I'm excited about. How God can touch my body and help me to do the things I need to do in spite of what I'm going through until he heals me. Because yes, I'm just in between miracles. I'm just in between miracles. That's all. But I can count it all joy because I know who's in control. Let me get to this last one, y'all, and then Number 5. Suffering helps us understand more clearly who we are to God. Oh, wait, I gotta go back. Up until he heals me, baby. Holds the same way. Listen. Let me go back right quick on the shifts your focus. Count it all joy. I need to say that, yes, I understand that doesn't happen in an instant. I do get that. And I am not talking about Shazam, boom, these things happen. But suffering is a process. So in the process of your suffering, these things can happen. This can be the assignment of that suffering. You have to ask God, what is my assignment? What is it I'm supposed to get from this? But understand that if you would allow suffering to take its course and do its job, then these things can happen for you. You can get to a count it all joy spot. I'm not saying you start off there. So I want to be clear. I'm not giving you stuff that like you just repeat this 3 times, turn around in a circle, jump up and down and do a cartwheel, and then boom, Shazam. No, suffering is a process. Let me get to number 5 so I can show you what I'm talking about. Suffering helps us understand who we are to God. The assignment may be that you may know him, Dr. V. Okay. But it may also be that you may know who you are to him. Let me talk about my boy Job. Job was sick so long. Y'all know him. Flesh fell from his bones, right? When we talk about Job, think about how confident God was in who Job was to God, right? God knew that Job loved him. He knew that Job was not going to turn his back on him. He knew that Job was not going to curse him and die as his wife told him to. So he offered Job up as a sacrifice of sorts, just to show the enemy that their relationship was real, that it was the real deal Holyfield, that Job was not out here skating and playing no games. Job was on his God business, to the point that when his kids was out there cutting the fool and acting up, Job was in prayer for those very kids. He understood that they was living the way they was living, but Job understood a God that could have mercy and compassion, a God that could save, a God that could turn them around. So Job prayed when his kids was cutting up, okay? When they was just living their lives, having a good time, not even thinking about God, Job was thinking about God for them. And so God had a special reason for telling the enemy, yeah, have you considered Job? Let me tell you, suffering will let you know that God is considering you. Woo! Y'all. Okay. All right. I know y'all don't. Listen, God is considering you. Now, I told y'all last week, sometimes I'm like, hey, God, skip me. It's some folks in the back that you have not considered you. If you want to just run back there, God, and grab a couple of them, 2, 3 of them, I don't care which one of them it is. Miss me. Okay. However, God is considering us. When we go through, God is not a haphazard God. We aren't going through anything just because. So then when I'm saying to God, God, why am I going through this? I wrote down a note to myself to add, thank you for trusting me with this. There must be something about me. There must be something about me, Drea, that God felt like I could handle this with him. No, by myself, I can't handle it, but that I would stick close to him while we go through this. Because he's walking it with me. There must be a reason. The assignment matters. I may not know exactly what it is when it starts, but at some point, God is going to reveal to me, even if it's on the other side. Listen, we talk a lot about what God is going to do for us, but God is busy working in us, and in us is always more important to God than for us. It is. It's the heart that he wants to change. It's the thoughts that he wants to change, baby, and it shall be revealed. Hey, auntie, y'all, my TT on here. I love her. That's my Aunt Gert. That's my girl. So you just need to understand that, yes, suffering is hard. It's difficult, but learn to thank God for trusting you with whatever it is, because there's a purpose. He's not just throwing stuff up in the air and you just get whatever. God does not work like that. There is something that he has specifically for you in your trial, in your test, whatever it is. Know that your suffering has an assignment. And listen, if God pulled us out of everything that we're going through, he thinks so much of us, Quran. If God pulled us out of everything that we go through, if we would not, and I had to write it down. If he pulled us out instantly, we would have no appreciation or fundamental understanding of his omnipotence. Okay. In other words, we would not get the fullness of his power. If God just, now, hey, Janice, if God just snatched you out, you wouldn't get the fullness of what he's capable of. But if you've been there a minute, yeah, he said in the scripture, after you suffered a while, and after you have suffered, now the ESV says, after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace who has called you to his eternal glory, he himself will restore, confirm, strengthen, establish. Listen, he will do all of that after you've suffered a while. And that process right there will give you the fullness of who he really is. It'll let you know he is who he says he is. All right, y'all. I'm getting out of here. It's about that time. I just wanted to encourage you and remind you that God is not wasteful. He doesn't do anything just because. He always has a plan and a purpose. And when I shared this the other day, well, a few weeks ago, when I shared that suffering has an assignment, I'm going to finish this with what my pastor said to me. Suffering also has an expiration date. Woo! Baby, I almost flipped that podium. It also has an expiration date. It won't always be like this. But while it is, ask God, what is this assignment? Woo, and then take it in, because God got something good for you tucked down in suffering. Believe it or not, suffering, I dare say it now. I know y'all ain't going to agree with me, but suffering is a gift. And it is. And it is. It's a gift. It might not be the gift you wanted or the gift you was asking for, but once you get it and know what to do with it, know how to open it correctly, that's a whole nother Freedom Friday. I'm out of here. I love y'all. Do me a solid. Thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate it. Do me a solid. Share this with somebody that's going through and somebody that's not, because baby, suffering is on the horizon. It's just part of life. It is what it is. Let somebody know that their suffering has an assignment and it has an expiration date. Job did come back to him, got double for his trouble. Just want y'all to know that he didn't go out like that. All right. Love you. See you. Bye. I'm out. I'm Ghost. I'm gone.